We're going to take a test over volume. You will be provided a formula chart, but I do expect to see you using the strategies we did in class to help you be successful on this test. You can get this signed for those bonus points. So let's just work through some of these and see how you did. Sandra made a model of a tent she plans on making for a Girl Scout troop. What is the volume of the model she made? So we talked about when we first started this, highlighting that base shape. That's going to be our big B. So again, volume of a prism is big BH. And I'm going to draw this base shape out. I do not actually need these 5s because the base is connected by the right angle. So the base is 4 and the height is 3. So base times height divided by 2. So in place of big B here, I could say 3 times 4 divided by 2 is 6. And then again, my height is the one that did not get used. It is not connected to my base shape, which happens to be a triangle. So 15 times 6 is 90. Don't forget your units, centimeters cubed. So block of wood shaped like a rectangular prism. So again, big BH. And now we're given some different things. So the volume itself is 6,336 cubic inches. And the area of the base, so remember that is big B, is 352. What is the height? So now we're going to plug these in and we're going to use what we remember about solving equations. So this is multiplying, so the inverse of multiplying is dividing. And you will be provided a calculator. So we can, after you've set this up, 6,336 divided by 352 is 18. And don't forget the units, so 18 inches. Remember, volume is cubed, but the units themselves are just by themselves. Triangular pyramid, so this one is different. A pyramid, remember, is base times height divided by 3, or you can write 1/3 big BH. Same thing. Remember, you did the experiment where you built the pyramids. So this one is, what is the volume of the pyramid? So here is my base shape. Make sure you're marking that. And you can see this is the right angle. So this is my base and this is my height. So when I have my triangle, here's my right angle. I have 9 and 9. And I know this is base times height divided by 2. So 9 times 9 divided by 2. 9 times 9 is 81. 81 divided by 2. Put a decimal on that. So it gives you a decimal answer. So this is 40.5 inches. And I can put that here. So 40.5 times my height is the number that is not on my base shape, times 15, divided by 3. 202.5. So the volume of this pyramid, 202.5. Now if you, and this was inches cubed. Now I'm going to go back to my calculator real quick where you can see that I did the 40.5 times 15. 607.5 is probably going to be a choice because that would be if it was a triangular prism. Okay, but this is a pyramid, so if you forget that divided by 3, chances are the answer is going to be there. Here we have another pyramid. This one is a rectangular pyramid. Okay, now this one actually has that slant height we talked about. We don't need that. Remember, your height of your pyramid is going to be straight up and down. So this is still big BH divided by 3. Here's my big B, 17.5 and 32. So this is just base times height. And you can't, oh, I'm sorry, I moved it up a little bit. 32 times 17.5. So this is 560 feet squared for big B. 560, and then we already talked about our height. So again, 560 times 24, and then divide by 3. And again, if you don't remember that divide by 3, chances are this answer is going to be a choice. So the volume is 4,480 feet cubed. I want to see your formula written every time. I want to see your numbers plugged in. After that, you can use your calculator. So here we have a cylinder. We know the base shape on a cylinder is in fact a circle. He uses glass shaped like a cylinder to drink every morning. The dimensions are shown. If Brian only had enough to fill half the glass, so make sure you're reading carefully what would be the volume. So first of all, this is a diameter. We need a radius. The radius would be 2 centimeters. So big BH, and again, big B. So this is pi r squared is area of a circle times our height. Now, this says we're only going to fill it half full. So this height, I'm going to go ahead and change to half full. You could also, if you wanted, you could use the 6 and then divide the whole thing by 2, whichever you prefer. This is not a multiple of 7, so I'm going to write it in terms of pi, and then we'll also write it in terms of just centimeters. So 2 was the radius. I'm just going to square that. 3 was my height. So 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 3 is 12 pi centimeters cubed. That would be the volume in terms of pi. Or I could come over to my calculator and say 12 times 3.14. I could also say 37.68. But I want you to see it both ways because I will tell you some of our answers on our test will be written in terms of pi because that's how you need to be able to see it both ways. So who knows how they'll have it written, so identify both pieces. Sylvia bought her parents coffee mugs for their anniversary. How much more? So you know you're going to have to subtract somewhere. Coffee does Dad's mug hold than Mom's? So you're going to need to find the volume of Dad's mug and subtract it, the volume of Mom's mug. So notice again, the radius is 3 here. The radius is 2 here. So if I have V equals big BH and it's pi r squared h. So for Dad, I'm going to do Dad over here. I could say 3.14. We need to use 3.14 because you're going to have to get an actual number. 3.14 times 3 squared times 6. And then for Mom, 3.14 times 2 squared times 4. So we can go over here. 3.14 times 3 squared is 9 times 6. So Dad is 169.56. And our units were inches cubed. Mom, 3.14, 2 squared is 4 times 4 is, Mom got shorted out there on her coffee, 50.24 inches cubed. So now, those would probably be separate answer choices, but we need to find how much more. So there's Dad minus Mom. So 119 and 32 inches cubed. More coffee for Dad. Joseph received a new soccer ball. It has a diameter of 4, which means the radius is 2. What is the volume? So volume of a sphere is 4/3 pi r cubed. So 4 over, I'm going to go ahead and write this one in terms of pi and as a number, r cubed. Make sure you're using 2 and not 4 over 3. So I could very well say I know that 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. And then we need to divide by 3. We can leave it as a fraction. We can write 32 pi over 3 inches cubed. If I wanted to, I could say 32 over 3 times 3.14. So I could also say 33.5 inches cubed. Either would be acceptable. So make sure that you can identify both pieces. Here's a cone, very nice. You could put some ice cream in it. Sometimes little water cups are shaped like this. The volume of the cone, remember, is big BH divided by 3, just like a pyramid. And big B is pi r squared. So if I'm going to use pi times r squared is 3 squared, and then the height is 7. But I got to divide everything by 3. Well, 3 squared divided by 3 is just 3. You could use your calculator if you wanted. You could write 21 pi if you wanted to write it in terms of pi, or 21 is a multiple of 7. I'm going to come over here. I could say 21 times 22 over 7. Simplify that. And I could also say 66 inches cubed. Either of those would be acceptable. On the back, you have a cone that has a radius of 11 and a height of 15. What is the volume? So again, big BH divided by 3. Big B is pi r squared. So I've got a radius of 11 and a height of 15. So 11 times 11 times 15 is in fact 1815 pi, and our units is our inches cubed. 1815 I don't believe is a multiple of 7. So we could also say 1815 times 3.14. We can try 22 over 7. I don't think it is. No. So we're going to go with 5699.1 inches cubed. Just a couple of more. So here is a cylinder. The radius is labeled, the height is labeled. Which of the following represents the volume of the cylinder? I would go ahead and do this, big BH, and big B is pi r squared. So here you have big BH, all of these are the same. So here we have pi r squared h, yes. 2 pi rh, no. Pi d, no. Remember, 2r and d are both circumference, so that won't work. Pi rh squared, no. Because you are only squaring the radius, so it has to be a. But go ahead and write your formula out so you can see what matches. Here's your cylinder. It has a diameter of 10. So remember, we want the volume. So the radius is 5. And we want to write this in terms of pi. So V equals big VH, pi r squared. So I'm going to write, leave my pi. My radius is 5 squared. My height is 4. So 5 times 5 is 25. 25 times 4. My volume is 100 pi inches cubed. And that one we're not going to multiply out because it specifically said in terms of pi. Here is your last one on your review. Again, you have a diameter, so make sure you're marking the radius. What is the volume of the cylinder? Of a cylinder. This is a cone that has the same base and height. Oh, so how is the volume of the cone related to the volume of the cylinder? So we know that volume of a cylinder is big BH, where we have pi r squared h. Volume of a cone is big BH divided by 3. So pi r squared h divided by 3. So the volume of the cone is 1/3 the volume of the cylinder. Okay, so just like you did with the pyramids. So if we also needed to know the volume of the cylinder, you have a couple of options. You could find the volume of this cone. We can say 3.14 times 3 squared times 10 divided by 3. You could do that. You can say 3.14 times 9 times 10 divided by 3. And we can say the volume of this cone is 94.2. And the way you can prove that 1/3 this was feet cubed. We could also come over here and we can say 3.14 times 3 squared times 10. So we're doing the same thing, and you get 282.6. And we know That's the volume. Now, if you found this cone, you could also come back and say 94.2 times 3, and you get the 282.6. So make sure you're understanding that relationship between pyramids, cones, pyramids and cones, and cylinders and prisms. Please let me know if you have any questions.